but because
your hand.
Your hand.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
But I had to point it out because it was driving me crazy. Don't you think Wiener's staff should be the most angry about this? The fact that he dissed them to a porn star?
You're ignoring the real story is that I'm a cutter. And I thought we were going to talk about that. I just broke a scab. It's disgusting. What was the question again?
The question is, should the staff be upset with Wiener?
Yes, of course they should. Look, I mean, not only does he use his staff to hide his ween, but then he chastises them for not doing a good job for hiding it. Like, that's unbelievable.
And then he texts like he's a 14-year-old boy. Like they, you know, like they're doing a really good job.
Well, he's Kathy.
Yeah.
Sorry. I've just tried to be as honest to Anthony Weiner the entire time. Everything I've said is the truth. Congressman Weiner, your staffers are shopping the resumes right now.
You know, the other thing, too, is I don't like anybody that when they text things like, Well, you know what I mean?
There is some wish on his part to be like a 13-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's like the hairless body, this sort of prepubescent aspect. I mean, there is this real protracted adolescence here.
Yeah. It's like a mix of the Jersey Shore meets Blue Boy magazine.
You know, I wish I knew what Blue Boy magazine was to understand that metaphor.
I wish I did too.
TT Boy goes to Washington.
But the other thing, too, is the texting between...
In all the photos where he's naked, he has the serious... you know, the Rock'em Sock'em robot, like he has almost a Transformers-like look, serious look on his face. I mean, this guy is in full-on raging mass.
I can show. I'm not.
That is the masturbatorial high.
I am not Breitbart, but I have documents to show that he took steps to copyright the term "rock hard" in 2005.
You know what he's doing? But he's like trying to look down and try to get the right angle, and that's making his face like that. But what's her name? Megan Broussard said that when he would send pictures, it was the face that creeped her out. It was like she wasn't looking at the body. It was just the intensity on his face. It really was. He almost turned himself into a giant erection. Yeah. That's what it was about.
But that's the problem with narcissistic personality disorder. It's not that everyone might not be talking about him positively, but everybody's talking about him. And in that sense, there's part of him that likes this. I guarantee you.
It's very Brando-esque. He's a method masturbator. He takes on the persona of...
Right, yes. He gets into character. He actually becomes the genital.
He does character.
What is coming out of our bodies tonight?
I don't know. Did I just fit?
And blood.
I'm the only girl on the panel.
Andrew, he can make a stick of margarine using only hyphens and parentheses on IM.
There you go. That is an art. You know, the other thing that I loved is before we go, the actual text, the 150-line text, sounded like it was like a liberal porn movie. Like every time they would drop in, like I love it how you gave it to Lieberman. I can't wait. You know, it was like they kept dropping in political things.
Also, like we'll screw while watching Colbert.
Yeah. That was my no. I got it here. I got it here. I go. No, it goes.
I'll be behind you.
First, we watch back-to-back episodes of The Daily Show and Colbert Report, and then we deface all of my neighbors' Sharon Angle yard signs. And he goes, "Why choose? With me behind you, can't we watch both? Can't we both watch The Daily Show?" All right, I got to take a break because they're whispering in my ear. Coming up, on weekends, he hunts the poor from the windows of moving trains. Dana Vachon discusses his new book, My Favorite Hobbies That Involve Harming the Poor.
Just gets better.
Yes. Naomi Campbell is mad as hell. Out of chocolate. Yeah, she's delightful. So we're going to talk more about Andrew Weiner. Is that his name? Anthony Weiner.
Anthony.
I've already forgotten his name. I want to show my favorite part of Breitbart invading the press conference from yesterday. Roll it.
Everything that I've said so far has come to be true. I'd like to hear one. The media says Breitbart lies, Breitbart lies, Breitbart lies, Breitbart lies. Give me one example of a provable lie. One.
Do you believe he's done anything?
One. Journalists, one. Put your reputation on the line here. One provable lie.
Oh, you know what that reminded me of? This.
You laughing at ya?
Go, Richard, go. Wow, this is getting sad, bro. You guys just keep recording. Keep recording. Look at that. Who's that in the background?
It is not nice to show videos of my little brother.
Yes, I couldn't read, but that's exactly what it was like. Can I ask, what do you make of the people like Howard Kurtz and the Tubins of the
Not
world?
much.
Yeah, not much.
I haven't for a long, long time.
Yeah.
That was the culmination of life's work. Of, you know, how do these smarmy bastards come across as truth tellers? They've not been telling the truth for so long. They've been shaping the narrative to their liking for so long. They've treated. The thing that gets me the angriest is how they treat people like Sarah Palin, regardless of what you think of her in terms of her politics. And there's this movie coming out called The Undefeated, which in the middle of the movie shows you how unbelievably competent and what a maverick governor she was with 88% approval rating. It's an amazing film, and it shows to you that the press just destroyed her because they could and because she wasn't part of their ilk. These people protect their own, and that's what Jeffrey Toobin was doing. That's what Salon was doing. That's what the Huffington Post was doing. That's what all of them were doing. They're despicable.
Dan, I want to bring in like the way Jon Stewart reacted to this. What was your take on that?
I think, well, the Daily Show is interesting because Stewart, he gets to enjoy the benefits of mattering, and then he'll say, well, I'm just a comedy show.
Yeah.
And it's like the two masks of Greek drama, right? It's not altogether honest. And I think that, but it's interesting that if you think, who tried harder than anyone to matter as an anchor? Katie Couric. She's a joke. Who makes jokes and who matters as an anchor? Jon Stewart. So there's something interesting. To be a comedy show today is actually to matter in a way that a straight news program did 30 years ago because of a lot of things in the culture. David Foster Wallace had a quote he liked, that irony is the sound of a bird that has come to love its cage. And I think that
Don't know what that means, but I like it.
Do you? Will somebody raise their hand to understand what that means?
Or raise your glass.
So poetic.
When
it's one of those
when
things.
it's Tucker Carlson whose life's getting ruined because he wears a bow tie, that's fine. But when it's my buddy, it's time for somber sadness. Now that's okay, but I love the Daily Show. I think Stewart's gifted, and I thought he should have handled it better.
Yeah, Barrett, where do you see this going?
I think that he'll be eventually forced to give up his seat. And then I think that it will probably most likely be filled by Ashton Kutcher.
Oh, I hope so. He's fantastic. Bill, you're known for giving up your seat. What do you think is going to happen in the next couple of weeks?
I didn't think he was going to resign. I've changed my mind after multiple drinks with Andrew Breitbart. I feel like we're just scratching the pink surface right now. And
don't give away the name.
I was making a phallus comment.
Yeah, you were talking about skin color.
Exactly. No, I think that this is the beginning. And I mean, I think he kind of saw how other politicians were able to survive something like this, but he just came about it in such an awful way that now the shaved chickens are coming home to roost.
It shows the mania, too, and how power corrupts, that he actually, as a rational person, thought he was going to wait this out.
No, he did. He thought
or intimidate other people.
He thought he could lie. He thought he could strategize his way out of it. And then he thought if he just hid for a while. Now he thinks that being contrite will get him through. But you can't take responsibility without consequences. But if you can, then we are screwed. Well, if you can, then,
Malcolm Muggeridge always used to talk about Christ on the mountain with the devil. And if you take Christ at his word, who wants to change things, he should have taken the devil up on his offer. Dominion over all, that could change a lot, right? Muggeridge's view is power is just evil. It is corrupting purely, and which is why you need people to throw rocks at power and to keep people in power afraid. And that's why you've pissed off a lot of people.
This is the smartest guest you've ever had.
but I mean, what you've done has been subversive. It's been far more subversive than any of the stuff.
Well, you want to hear subversive?
Email us. It's redeye@foxnews.com. To leave a voicemail, my direct line, 212-462-5050. Never done that before. Still to come, the halftime report from TV's Andy Levy. He's kind of strange. Weird guy.
Tonight's halftime report is sponsored by lightning, that atmospheric electrostatic discharge accompanied by thunder typically during a thunderstorm, and sometimes during volcanic eruptions. Thanks, lightning. Guests on Red Eye will receive a guided bike tour of Central Park with the Action Brothers, Tex and Lex. The Action Brothers have been training together for over 15 years, and their mission is to show you a good time every time. Guests on Red Eye will receive a free birthday thumbs up. Sure, we could send you presents or even call you, but let's be honest, that's a little impersonal, don't you think? So for now, let's just stick with the thumbs up.
Welcome back. Let's find out if we've got anything wrong so far. For that, we go to TV's Andy Levy.
Thanks, Greg. Let's get right to it, shall we?
Okay.
All right. Greg, you started off your Gregalogue by saying, quote, so the perfect narrative for any movie is the little guy versus the big guy, David versus Goliath, the whistleblower versus the evil corporation, the tough reporter versus the corrupt politician, the half-naked talk show host versus a team of rambunctious houseboys. Who's the little guy in that last one?
Geez, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Usually the lights are out. Yeah.
So you're saying size doesn't matter?
Yes.
Okay.
Your cats. Hi.
Maybe you came back a little too soon, Barry.
You know why you were banned last time? It was the cat jokes.
Speaking of which, though, Greg, you referred to Wiener as a hairless, sculpted cat.
Yes.
It's more of a dog, isn't it?
Well, I was using the kind of the 60s vernacular cat.
Like the hep cat.
Yeah, hep cat.
Oh, okay. All right. You kind of threw me with that because it's not something you do on a regular basis.
I know. Sometimes I like to mix things up.
Okay. Andrew, you said you think Wiener's ultimately going to resign, and I agree. Democratic strategist Chris Lehane says Wiener is in a deep, dark, unspinnable place. Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid says he wishes there was some way he could defend Wiener, but he can't, and he says if Wiener called him for advice, he'd tell him to call someone else. And most importantly, Andrew, Matt Damon was scheduled to host a fundraiser for Wiener on June 20th, but he now tells New York Magazine it's going to be postponed because of all of this. If you've lost Matt Damon, Andrew, it's over, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Yeah.
It is. He's my favorite of all of them.
All of the Damons?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Damon brothers?
Yeah.
Andrew, do you accept the apologies from Joan Walsh, Chris Hayes, Marcos, and all the other people?
Oh, have they?
No.
Oh, okay. I've been out of it. Yeah, it's
okay.
been amazing, isn't it?
Right,
Isn't it weird that they criticize me all the time about accountability or, truthfulness?
Yeah.
And they got caught with their pants down and there's no accountability. Where is there somebody to go to them and say, what are you going to do about it? You got caught with your pants down, and it's not a small thing to accuse me of having hacked a sitting congressman.
Yeah. The thing is, I mean, I don't know if we talked about this before on the show, but being a liberal generally means you never have to say you're sorry.
Yes.
You know, you never have to admit that Alger Hiss was right or that the Rosenbergs were guilty. Like,
I think we agree on this principle.
Okay. All right. How did you become a one-man vast right-wing conspiracy?
It happened on this show. You remember I during Acorn,
Yeah.
you jokingly said, what next? And I said, I'm going to take down the institutional left.
Yep.
And I said it half jokingly, but Marcos took it seriously, created a hashtag on Twitter, Breitbartocalypse, and I said, okay, buddy, if you're going to take jokes on Red Eye and try and turn them into serious content and pretend like I actually meant that, you've inspired me to try to take down the institutional left, and this is part of my campaign.
So was that? I'm trying to remember. Was that the same episode where you snorted grape Kool-Aid or tweaked your nipples?
No, this is the one where I poured water into my genitals because you were talking about some homoeroticism.
Wait.
Oh, that old one.
Yeah,
We were?
Yeah.
You have to be more specific.
I get confused.
that show.
Yeah.
No, okay. All
It's in
right.
the greatest hits.
Yeah, it is actually. By the way, that paragon of class, Donald Trump, posted a video on his Facebook page calling Wiener a bad guy and a psycho.
Yeah.
It's fun. This thing don't stop.
Dana, you said what you found most offensive was the banality of the hubris and the contempt, and I agree with that. But don't you think ultimately this is the story of a guy who probably wasn't all that popular with the ladies in the high school, and then he gets a little bit of the power, and now he sort of just goes nuts?
Yeah, right. I mean, there's an infantile aspect to it.
Yeah.
All through and through, yeah.
Okay.
I agree with that.
Stop agreeing with me.
I think we talked about that with Julian Assange, too. Like Greg pointed out,
Yeah.
if some kind maiden had but disrobed for Mr. Assange, none of this would have happened.
Yeah. Well, it builds up until like you're in your mid-30s, and then suddenly, or 40s, you're a congressman. It's like, now I'm going to sleep with every girl that turned me down.
I think one of the reasons why I don't have these type of compulsions is because the first night that I delivered pizza when I was 16 years old, I saw 2 naked women.
There you go.
And maybe also because you're married and you actually have a moral compass. Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, Andrew, that was a movie you were watching.
Loverboy, too.
Yeah.
Brentwood Boogaloo.
By the way, to be fair to Assange, I think it was more he was frustrated because all he wanted to do was dance.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah.